Here, we would want to meet the candidates that are ably represented here, and I'm just going to call them on stage. All protocols observed. Now, representing in no order at all, I would want to introduce to the stage here, representing the APC, talking about Senator Abiola Ajimobi. Let's put our hands together for him as he comes on stage. That's the governor of Oyo State. Let's put our hands together for him. He's coming on stage, Senator Abiola Ajimobi. Keep clapping for him as he comes on stage. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Senator Abiola Ajimobi for you. Edmond, before I see that, okay, please welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. That's Senator Abiola Ajimobi representing the APC for today's event. Also, ably represented here, representing the SDP, that's the Social Democratic Party, Engineer Sheyi Maki. Let's put our hands together for the engineer. That's the man, I'm sure you've been seeing him around. Just keep clapping for him as he comes on stage. That is Engineer Sheyi Makinde for you. Welcome, sir. Let's put our hands together again for him as he takes his seat. Representing the Social Democratic Party. Now let's move to the People's Democratic Party. By his cap, you recognize him. Senator Teslim Folari, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, sir. Keep clapping for him as he comes on stage. Keep clapping for him. Okay. Senator Teslim Folari there. Thank you very much. Keep clapping for him as he gets his seat. Now exchanging the handshake. Edmond is just whispering at me that the next name I was about calling, the person that was supposed to represent the Accord Party, actually, that is, representing the Labour Party, Chief Dr. Christopher Akala. He just sent a message to Edmond that he's so sorry he won't be able to make it here this afternoon. So sorry, the representative of the Labour Party will not make it. I was about calling him on stage, but he just did not make it. I'll just move on to the next party. We all know him. I call him Baba. Representing the Accord Party, Senator Rashidi Ladoja. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Rashidi Ladoja, representing the Accord Party. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome, sir. Once again, I would want to apologize. The man that was supposed to occupy that seat, that's the candidate for the Labour Party, Dr. Christopher Akala, just sent in his message that he will not be making it for this event. At this moment, I'd like to hand the mic over. Okay, before handing over to the panel now, I'm sure our men at the technical are set for us before we swing into the action of the event of the day. I would like us to be on our feet as we take the national anthem and of course the Ibadan anthem. I'm sure the men at the technical department are set for that. Thank you very much. We'll be taking the national anthem and then we will also take the Ibadan anthem now. Thank you very much. Who may all be seated. At this moment, I would like to hand over to Professor Ibokari and his team.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the great people of Oyo State. Before we start, we would like to read the ground rules. All 5 parties were invited, and so we have 4 parties represented and 1 is absent. We shall be breaching protocol by not addressing people by their official compliments. This is to create a level playing field for everyone. There shall be no applause or hailing of the debaters during the debate. No heckling, no whistling, no catcalls. The members of the audience can only applaud during the introduction of the candidates and at the end of the debate. Each of the speakers will introduce themselves and their policies for 4 minutes. Subsequently, each debater shall speak for only 3 minutes to make their points on issues raised. The debate is expected to last for 3 hours, and so we appeal to the contestants to try as much as possible to keep to the time allotted them. At the end, the debaters will be given 3 minutes each to ask one another questions, if they do have any. That means this is optional. It's important to note that this is an issues-based debate. And our colleagues here with us on the panel are going to be addressing each question, 2 questions each, to each of the candidates. So having said that, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we would like to kick off the debate by asking Professor Bayo Okunade to read out the first 2 questions. Thank you.
My name is Bayo Okunade from the University of Ibadan.
Just a little bit of an adjustment here. I think it's proper for us to ask each of the candidates to give us, to introduce themselves, first of all, and their vision, for just 4 minutes. So we are going to start this off from the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Engineer Seyi Makinde. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name. Thank you. My name's Oluseyi Abiodun Makinde. I'm an engineer by profession, and now a politician. The policy of SDP and the government that will be headed by Seyi Makinde in Oyo State will focus mainly on Operation HIPS. We'll talk about health care, education, agriculture, physical infrastructure, and security. The major challenge of our time in Oyo State as of today are the twin issues of poverty and corruption. Poverty, a grinding one. If we look at our population, a higher percentage of it consists of the youth, at least about 55–60%. And when they are faced with high level of poverty with no means of escaping the cycle, they discount the future. Discounting the future means they will readily engage in status-elevating ventures, which will breed crime, violence, and other vices within our environment. This we have to tackle by providing employment for these young lads. And how do we provide employment? We know quite well that Oyo State economy is agrarian. You have means by which we can get money. Presently, the only means that are being explored is just from the Federation account. And from the Federation account, you have about maybe 5 billion as the allocation monthly. And we generate also roughly 2 billion internally. Then we pay the workers. Workers' wages is close to 70% of that, almost 4.9 billion naira, with only 30% available for capital projects. When you take this, you take 30% that you need to use to generate capital project, and you now want to create employment, and you create employment that will also take away from that 30%. An SDP government in Oyo State will definitely move away from that route. We will create employment based on the comparative advantage that Oyo State has. The comparative advantage for us is our land resource. So, by means of employment generation, we will focus on that. And this is something that I have done before in my private capacity. Yeah, that's something I've done before in my private capacity. We went to my village in Ajia. We put in electricity in there, and we found out that the artisans, welders came in, the price of land in that locality went up. Even the youth, they don't have any need to come to the city for anything. They charge them.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I think we're done with the time, if you don't mind.
4 minutes.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Engineer Seyi Makinde of the Social Democratic Party. Again, let me remind us that we have 4 minutes to introduce ourselves and our vision for your state. Senator Teslim Folarin of the People's Democratic Party, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. My name is Teslim Kolawole Folarin. I am 51 years old. I consider myself as a true Nigerian. Had my secondary education in Lagos. I'm a proud alumni of this great I am a proud alumni of this great university. And like many kids of those days, I did my NYC in Kaduna. And like many kids of those days, also took the opportunity to travel abroad, where I spent 12 good years in the British Civil Service. And that gave me the opportunity to see how things are run compared to Nigeria. And after 12 years, 13 years, what I took away from my sojourn there is how strong their institutions are. And with very strong institutions, you can make things work. So I came home, became a senator, was in the Senate for 8 years, last 4 years as the leader of the Senate. In the last 4 years, I have not been active in terms of holding any political office. And that has afforded me the opportunity to travel the length and breadth of this state, to talk to people from Okyogun, Oyo, Ogbomosho, Ibarapa, talk about issues, what are the challenges facing them. And we came to the conclusion, my team and I came to the conclusion that our manifesto is based on one single agenda: people, 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 people. Having said that, there are strands. When I say people, the people we've spoken to are concerned about agriculture, they're concerned about health, they're concerned about education, quite rightly, they're concerned about accommodation, they're concerned about infrastructural development, and of course, they're very concerned about the issue of youth unemployment, which is a major, major challenge to this country and Oyo State. So I believe this platform would give me the opportunity to showcase, if you like, my own agenda and to see how it would be different, how it is different from the other parties. If you look at the people since 1999, people who have governed this state, we've had 4 governors. Out of the 4, 1 is late. And 3 of them are seeking to come back. And I'm saying that I, Teslim Polari, I see myself as a link between the young and the old. I, Teslim Polari, believe is the answer to that change that people of Oyo State are clamoring for. How do I mean? People will not be complaining if things are done rightly. Hence the need for change every 4 years. And I believe the old, with all due respect, the old regimes have not left any lasting legacies for any enduring legacies, if you like, for anyone to follow. So I believe I represent that change that the people of Oyo State are clamoring for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's follow the ground rules. Thank you, Senator Teslim Folarin of the People's Democratic Party, for keeping to time. We now have to move over the candidate of the Labour Party, who is not here at the moment. So we move on now to Senator Abiola Ajimobi of the All Progressive Congress.
Thank you. Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me take this opportunity to commend the one and only radio station that has deemed it fit to support the democratic process. I also commend all my brothers that are here. As a matter of introduction, I am Isiaq Abiola Ajimobi, born in Ibadan, schooled in Ibadan, partly, and completed my education in the United States of America. I went to State University of New York, Buffalo. It was the first, or let me say the largest state university system in the United States. I studied as a first degree business management with concentration in finance, and did my master's degree in science in management with concentration in marketing and operations research. Left and worked briefly with the Equitable Life Assurance, the second largest life assurance company in the United States. Similarly, I came back to Nigeria, worked with a consulting firm, later worked with an architectural firm, later worked with Nestle Foods, became the operations controller, later went
I think this is what.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I left, joined Nestle, then later on joined National Oil, which was at that time the marketing arm of Shell Petroleum. I rose through the rank, and I became the chief executive managing director before I left to join politics. I came into politics in 2002, ran for the Senate, became a senator, was a principal officer. My party was a minority party, and I was the deputy minority leader. Thereafter, I ran for governorship, lost the first one, won the second one. Today, I'm the executive governor of Oyo State, and I'm running to continue as the executive governor. Having said this, I believe that like all societies, there are always challenges, whether in America, whether in Britain, whether in Germany, in Russia, Africa. There are challenges, socio-economic, political challenges. And Nigeria has not been left out of these challenges. Now coming to Oyo State, 2011, May, and on ground, I found out that there was a lot of degradation in all spheres of socioeconomic activities of the state, starting mainly with peace, security, safety of lives and property, being the foundation of any economic development. Is that first warning or final warning? Because I'm supposed to have a first warning, then a final warning. So if you continue ringing, that means it's final. So you need to be.
It's final. It's final. Just make your last sentence. It's final, but you can make your last sentence.
Excuse me. I like us to be fair in whatever we do here. I want you to apply the same rules.
It's the same rule. We stopped the time when we had a technical hitch.
When
there was a technical hitch,
yes,
we stopped the time, and so you have all your 4 minutes.
Okay. So do you give us warning, then final, or no warning? Just final.
This is the final warning, sir.
Okay. If it is the final,
just make a last sentence, and then we'll be over.
The last sentence is simple. I am running to consolidate on the process of peace that we have established, to consolidate on the socio-economic developments that we've recorded so far, which is unparalleled in the last 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Abiola Ajimobi of the All Progressive Congress. We're sorry that there was that technical hitch when you were making your presentation. And now what we'll do at this point is that we'll also announce once we stop to let you know that we have stopped the timer if there is any sort of technical hitch anymore. And then, of course, at 3 minutes henceforth, we will ring the bell and then that means you have 1 more minute. We didn't want to interrupt you in the process of making your presentation. Thank you very much, sir. We now come up to Senator Rashid Ladoja of the Accord Party.
My name's Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja. I am from Oyo State. My parents are from Ibadan, but I was born in Gambari. I had my education in Nigeria and in Belgium. I worked briefly for 13 years with Total Nigeria Limited before I decided to go on my own. Since I've gone on my own, I've made contributions in various fields: finance, agriculture, mining, and industries. I decided to join politics because I found that most of my peers were happy sitting down and complaining. What Nigeria lacks is leadership. What Nigeria lacks is leadership. So I don't want to continue as an armchair critic. That is why I decided to come into politics. I came into politics in 1992, contesting for Senate. In the Senate, I was chairman of the Mines and Power Committee before Abacha booted us out. I joined the others in fighting for Nigeria's democracy. I was a prominent member of NADECO. I left Nigeria when the heat was on, and I came back when politics started again. I contested in 2003. I joined politics again in 1999. I became the National Financial Manager, or whatever you call it, of People's Democratic Party, National Financial Secretary. And I contested on the platform of the PDP in 2003, and I won. I won, and I had a very interesting time. What I meant on the ground then was not something we could talk about, because my predecessor's slogan was Awo Kajulu. That is, the finances were not enough to meet the requirements of the state. We put in those things that we felt were good. I promised the people of Oyo State when I was campaigning in 2003 that I was going to reform education. I was going to eradicate Guinea worm. I was going to... Thank you very much. I believe that's the final. That's the final. I still have a minute. Oh, thank you. So we put in measures to realize these dreams, because a leader must be able to dream. If you don't dream, you cannot perform. So we eradicated this. Our education system became better. We were scored second for 2004-2005 by Subeb. Our University of LATEC was rated as the best state university in Nigeria. Jimmy Carter's Gulliver 2000 confirmed that we succeeded in eradicating Guinea worm. We mended all the roads because we created measures to reduce costs by putting up a road maintenance agency and the bitumen plant.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is the second Splash FM Oyo State gubernatorial debate taking place at the International Conference Center, University of Ibadan. I think the candidates all deserve a rousing round of applause. Now, we've come to the second stage. Again, you have 3 minutes. In order to assist the candidates, at the end of 2 minutes, the bell will ring once. And then, when you hear the bell again, it means that your time is up. Thank you very much. Let's return back to the candidate of the Social Democratic Party. And Professor Bayo Okwande is going to start us off in this session. Professor Okwande.
Yeah, thank you very much. Respected audience. Implicit in the introductory remarks by the contestant are their credentials for the office. But to ask a very specific question. Given your understanding of the powers and functions of a governor as enunciated in our constitution and the avowed complexity of your state, can you advertise your credentials of the governor of your state at this time?
Thank you. Engineer Sheyi Makinde, your turn.
Now, if I understand the question very well, you said, what do I understand the function of the position of governor of your state? Because the loudspeaker really is...
Let me put the question differently. What makes you think you are the fittest candidate for the office of governor of your state at this time?
Okay. Thank you. I know the greatest challenge that Oyo State is faced with this is not working here. So, do we just start now? Okay. The greatest challenge that we're faced with in Oyo State today is the issue of poverty and corruption. Poverty, I have dealt with in my personal capacity. I wasn't born rich. I came from a home of a primary school teacher, later turned accountant. That's my dad. And my mom was a civil servant, telephone operator. So I wasn't born rich. I was actually faced with poverty growing up. But Oyo State did so much for me by providing me with education, free education. I went to Bishop Phillips Academy in 1980 to 1985. And I was given textbooks, notebooks, and all the things that are necessary for me to excel in a public school. When I went to Bishop Phillips Academy, the school had been in existence for about 21 years. On my graduation, I made the best result in the history of that school. People said then that because we're Omabolaige and we didn't take common entrance to go into secondary school, education standard was going to fall, but it did not. So I understand the issue of poverty and how to create wealth. I've done it in my private capacity, and we're ready to do it in Oyo State. We're ready to create jobs that will add to our gross domestic product rather than take away from it. That will be the central focus of our administration. And in terms of corruption, I know we have routine corruption and also systemic corruption. If we lose 6-point-something billion naira in pension funds, it must have been because we have serious systemic challenge. we will focus our efforts at plugging all of those loopholes so that even the little that we have, because at this stage, it's the money from the Federation account majorly that is being used to run the state. So the little that we...
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Engineer Sheyi Makinde. We now move on to Senator Teslim Folarin of the People's Democratic Party.
Thank you. So can I have the question again, please?
The first or second version? You know, there are two versions.
Two questions, both sides.
Okay, let me ask in the original sense. The original version, that given your understanding of the role and powers of the office of governor as enunciated in the Nigerian Constitution and the avowed complexity of Oyo State, can you advertise to the people of Oyo State your credentials for the office of the governor at this time?
Thank you, sir. I made some remarks in my opening speech when I said that of the candidates, there are 3 candidates wanting to come back as governor. And I also said there wouldn't be any clamor for change if things are working. In my own opinion, the past governments have failed this state and the unborn generation. And there has to be a new way of doing things, which I represent. We need to begin to think outside the box. There are challenges everywhere. But you ask people, the average people, what are the answers to these challenges? And everyone is thinking inside the box. We'll employ these teachers, we'll employ these we'll employ that. That isn't the answer. That isn't the answer. One critical area, one major challenge that we have facing us, like I said, is the issue of youth unemployment. And I believe that I, being the link between the young and old, is in the best position to tackle this issue. And again, you look at the past administrations, with all due respect, it's like asking a typewriter engineer to fix an iPad problem. It ain't gonna work. It won't work. The issue of youth unemployment, for instance, they don't understand. People don't understand how serious this is. There's a lack of appreciation. And I think it's time we begin to educate these kids that the jobs are not there. The oil companies, the banks, the big companies that used to provide these jobs in the past are no longer there. We must put in place a system where we would be... The kids of these days are very smart because they're born into the internet world. And so we must be able to exploit that. We must be able to provide as a government services that would help them unlock those potential within them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Candidate of the Accord Party, Senator Rashid Ladoja.
Well, if you asked the question in 2003, my answer would have been different. But since the question is being asked today, I want to tell you that I think that I'm still the best candidate to win. Because I found in those years that Oyo State people are the best to rule because of the fact that they always cooperate with a leader they trust. During that period, when we came in, I told you that the reason why I came in was because I don't want to be an armchair critic. So that's why I threw in the hat. So we put in place measures that gave us results. And I expected my successors to have been building on those results. I told you when we came in, we said that our focus was going to be education, health, roads, and we put those things there because the major thing is the resources have to be managed correctly. We put in an asphalt plant, which has been discarded. We brought in a tractor plant, which has been discarded. We brought in 30 pupils per class, which has been discarded. Teachers were getting their salaries and workers were getting their salaries on time, which have been discarded. So we asked ourselves, what is happening? What is happening? So where we are going to start again is where we started in 2003, which means that all the gains we made are lost. And the reason is because subsequent governments have not made people their objective. The well-being of the people of Oyo State is my primary responsibility, and that is what the constitution says. My responsibility is the people, the welfare of the people of Oyo State, and I'm going to give them that welfare. I've started before, and I succeeded. I will continue on that platform. So I can assure you that today, based on the record I laid, with linear resources, this time will be better than before.
Thank you very much. And then we'll go over now to the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Senator Abiola Ajimobi. And please, we want to really caution the audience to follow the ground rules. We don't want any applause. When we get there, we will let you know when you should applaud. Please, let's follow the ground rules. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think the question had to do with the credentials that we have to qualify us as the governor of Oyo State. I think for me, governance is simply about service delivery. People, social, economic, and physical. I believe that when you have a government, the government is to provide the needed services to the people. In doing so, what qualifies me to get there or to be there? I've said before, I was chief executive of a multinational, not only in Nigeria, but outside Nigeria. My corporate experience spanned 30 years, and I reached the top, managing people, managing equipment resources. 2, I have a cognate experience to be the governor of Oyo State. I haven't been a senator, I haven't been a governor that is currently serving. And I've seen the problems, and I've been able to compare myself with others before me. And I know leadership, a good leader will take his people to where they want to go. A great leader will take his people to where they ought to be. That we've been able to do through the repositioning of Oyo State, through transformation, and through restoration. And we base this on the simple system of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is applicable to states, where we felt peace must be number one. Before we came in, Oyo State was seen as a place of brigands, known for violence. We have restored peace. That is restoration. 2, so many of the projects that were done before we came in, they've gone moribund. Be it investment projects, moribund. Now we have brought in employment. What is employment to us? It's about education. It's about skill. Skill is about knowledge. Knowledge is ability. Ability is capability. In order, what we are saying, I think you should remove that clapping from my time. I think you can remove clapping from my time. So what I'm saying is, basically speaking.
Hello, please. I'm going to have to give him 1 more minute because of the clapping. Please, you cannot interrupt any candidate. Please, we must follow the ground rules. Please. Thank you. Please go on. You have 1 more minute.
So, in terms of not only cognate experience, but cognate performance, comparatively speaking, be it in the area of health, we've done better than what we met on ground, be it in education, be it in agriculture, be it in human resources development, be it in infrastructure, we have done better. Our performance is speaking for us. Hence, we must continue to handle the job. I thank you.
Thank you very much. We have to, Senator Abiola Jimobi, we are going to start in the reverse order this time. You are going to take the next question. And so I call on Mr. Oje to throw in the next question.
It is believed that Oyo State has around 70% farming population of some sort. So the question, and we also know that around the state we have around 7 locations of farm settlements, whether cattle or plants. So the question here is, how do you intend to turn these farm settlements to employment generating source for the state? That's the question.
Thank you very much. I think what the largest employer of labor in the world is agriculture. And when we came in, we started with the concept of the 3 legs of agriculture: the inputs, the infrastructure, and the human capital. And when we started, we looked at our inputs. How do we help the farmers? We ensured that we give them seedlings. For instance, before we came in, seedling was at about 3.5 million. When we came in, we looked for hybrid seedlings, and we got 1.5 million, and our output increased by over 60%. That is on cocoa. Fisheries, what we did was to also train people and improve on what they have. And today, we have increased by over 50%. So the point we are making is, for inputs, we've also added money to assist farmers. For inputs, we've also cultivated lands for them. So input, we have done well. 2, we want to continue. Second aspect of agriculture is what we call infrastructure. This government, more than any other government, has brought in tractors. 480 tractors compared to less than 100 that we had before we came in. And we have distributed them to all the farming population. Not only this, 70% of our farm produce do not get to the marketplace. What have we done? We've added storage facilities. For the first time, storage facilities, mega storage facilities of 10,000 metric tons. We've also brought in bulldozers and graders to rig the farmland, to make them motorable. Finally, we have engaged more than 7,000 youths and 20,000 youths. 7 for agriculture. We are interacting with IITA, and they are training them for us in order to go into agri. We've also introduced Catch Them Young agricultural program, where in schools now they are planting and they are growing fruits and vegetables. So in agriculture, what we must do with the 7, in fact we have 9 farmlands, farm settlements. And what we are now doing, we had an international partner who is already discussing with us, and we want to use them in this area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Engineer Seyi Makinde.
Okay. Thank you. One of the first steps that we are going to take for Oyo State farmers will be to set up an economic advisory committee at the state level. Never again are we going to have a government in Oyo State. That will be myself and few cliques, maybe close family members and all. I'm not going to do that. I will ensure that critical stakeholders, including farmers, artisans, they will be represented in the Economic Advisory Committee. So they have critical input onto how we're going to apply the resources available to us in Oyo State. Again, our developmental process will henceforth be measured in terms of improvement in social indicators. For instance, again, if I have to deal with the issue of, helping the farmers, I will not give money directly to the farmers. I will rather ensure that whatever assistance we're going to render is going to go to the people or the companies that are going to be responsible for providing those inputs to them. Again, it's something that we've done. We did a pilot project in my village, Ajia. They're also predominantly farmers. We put in certain facilities, majorly electricity and also water. And we found out that people, they actually stay in the village. They don't leave. We put in DSTV in a viewing center, and we found out that the folks don't come to town, to watch TV. They come back from their farm. They have all the things that can keep them occupied in those villages. So for the farm settlement to stem rural-urban migration, we will provide those facilities which will ensure that the farmers, they become productive. And we will also fund adequately by bringing in investors through public-private partnership. For instance, Brazil, the GDP of Brazil, agriculture contributes 24%, but agriculture accounts for 30% of Brazil's annual export. So we're not going to look at agriculture just for Nigeria. I was talking to people in Shaki. They said they want to be the food basket of Oyo State, and I said they can be the food basket of West Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then we go over now to Senator Teslim Folarin of the People's Democratic Party.
Thank you, sir. Can I ask the question again, please?
The question is how you intend to use the farm settlements in Oyo State to create jobs for the citizens.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, can we have some quiet, please? Please, you can go on.
I think you can start my 3 minutes now. I mean, for me, this is one of the tragedies of this administration and indeed the past ones, given the huge potential that Agric offers us in terms of job creation and expanding our IGR base. The present governor went on a familiarization visit to Fashola Farm Settlement some time ago. And when he was there, he said Fashola Farm Settlement was being utilized at a capacity of 20%. I want to make bold that since his last visit, that has dropped to about 12%. And the reason is very simple. The reason is very simple. It's either there is bad management or the equipment they claim to have bought is not there. Having said that, what my administration would do, sir, is to build a synergy between these farm settlements and the research institutes that abound in Oyo State. It's a tragedy because you have all this IITA there and there is no synergy. And if there is no strong one between our farm settlements and the international institutes. So we would do that. And now, 80% in our own calculation is involved in agric. If you take the civil servants, about 5% civil servants who are also involved in agriculture, and 80% of the farmers cannot use the farm settlements. So what we need to do is to create an enabling environment for people, other people who cannot use the farm settlements to practice their agric. We need to build feeder roads, irrigation where necessary. And if you look at the issue of things you can do on the farm settlement, I was talking about expanding your revenue base. This is a state that cannot pay salaries as in when due. They can't pay. And given the huge potential that we have from agric, it really is a tragedy that we cannot manage our farm settlements and agric as a whole to make sure that we pay our salaries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is important that we are quiet so that we can hear what the debaters are presenting to us. Please, let's remember the House rules. We need absolute quiet, please. Thank you very much. Accord Party, Senator Rashid Ladoja.
Sorry, the name of the party is Accord, not Accord Party. We were using the farm settlement to the maximum during our period. But since then, we have discovered that if you want to keep our youngsters, particularly graduates, in agriculture, you must make them earn as much as their counterparts that are working in cities, as banks, oil companies earn. And it is possible. So apart from the farm settlement that are already being used to the maximum, we intend to open up land for our youngsters. Land for our youngsters to plant those things that will make them earn as much money as their counterparts in banking sector earn. We intend to give them 100 hectares of land to plant cassava. Cassava is a one-year crop. Even with only 20 tons per hectare, they will be giving us 2,000 tons and at a minimum price of 10,000 naira per ton. They will be earning 20 million naira a year. 2 graduates running that farm will employ people and they can still go home with about 10 million naira of their pocket. And we intend to attach to this project processing plants. If you have cassava, you put a starch factory there, you put a glucose factory there, you put an acetone factory there, so that they have a ready market for their produce. Farm settlements can only service the markets. It's not, we have gone beyond that one. During our time, we made sure that the Fadama worked, and there was no difference between the rainy season and the dry season when it comes to vegetables. So we will continue with that one. But more importantly, we will set up other settlements. Between Ishaki and Okerete is 100 kilometers. Virgin land. I went to Ayegun from Ijio the other time. Virgin land, 40 kilometers. So we believe that if we take our people there and we set them up on these issues, who tells you that we cannot plant shea nuts, make plantations of shea nuts, make plantations of castor? We can make it. When you put the thing there, you also process it, and then you add value. And that will also make your youngsters who are working outside to find that his counterpart, his classmate, is earning as much as he is and is as peace. sending his children to school. There's nowhere you cannot work today. Internet is everywhere. So you can work. So we will go beyond your farm settlement, which can only provide subsistence farming. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Rashid Ladoja. I think we need to give all the candidates a rousing round of applause. And let me remind us that this is the second Splash FM Oyo State Gubernatorial Debate 2015, and it's taking place at the International Conference Center, University of Ibadan. I think the audience also deserves a round of applause. A round of applause for the audience. Now, ladies and gentlemen, again we are going to go to a set of questions. This time it's going to be taken by the ladies. We are looking at Mrs. Robin Anjola, who is going to take the question. And we are going to start from Senator Rashid Ladoja of Accord. I think I'm right this time. So, lady.
All protocols duly observed, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Robin Anjola. I'm from Leeds City University, Ibadan. Now, Oyo State currently has more than 13 quarrying companies, and the granite reserve is pegged as approximately 220 million tons. Now, it also has been estimated that the employees in the mining sector has risen between 2010 and 2012 from 1,031,033 to 1,358,795 employees. Now, this is what the people of Oyo State wish to know. What is your blueprint in regard to this sector? How do you hope to conduct judicial and efficient exploration of this sector in an attempt to alleviate the poverty of the state, setting a pace for other states to follow? Now the question, what is your blueprint for the mining sector in Oyo State, sir?
Hello, please, audience, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Can we be quiet, please? Senator Ladoja, I hope the question is clear.
Well, I think what people are complaining about is that the question is not clear.
Well, she's going to listen, please. Listen, please. I think the final part of the question summarized everything. So I'll give it back to Mrs. Anjola to give us the summary of the question. Thank you.
Yeah, she was giving some statistics.
What is your blueprint, sir, concerning the mining resources in Oyo State?
Thank you very much. Mining, whatever is under the ground is the property of federal government. But the land belongs to the state. So the mining licenses are issued by the federal government. What we did and what we are still going to do is to manage the people that are mining there by making sure that we get our own people also to work. And also, our intention is to add value rather than just take it raw, aquamarine or topaz, rather than take it raw. We will set up polishing areas which will also make it be able to go up to jewelry stage. So that is for those precious stones. And so far, we have not yet discovered in Oyo State a gold deposit. But all those minerals that are there are being exploited mostly by illegal miners, which are not under the purview of the state. All we can do is to encourage them to set up processing plants, while at the same time we encourage our own people to also obtain licenses now from federal government, so that they can also participate in those ventures. We will encourage them and we will support them. And as I said, government will also encourage, because wherever the private sector is strong, my government will not go there, because we cannot compete with them and we don't want to destroy them. So what we are going to do in mining is we set up our own people, we encourage our own people to go into mining also and to exploit those things, and we set up processing areas for it, that is cutting and polishing, which employs 3 times the miners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Senator Teslim Folarin of the People's Democratic Party.
Thank you very much. Hello. Yeah. Thank you very much. I wish you were reading out some very interesting statistics, which we couldn't hear, but it's okay. We'll just answer as far best. I hope my 3 minutes hasn't started. Thank you very much. Again, for me,
It's working, it's working.
Hello? Yeah. Thank you. Again, for me, the failure to exploit the potential there lies within our mining sector, again exposes the unseriousness of this administration and indeed past administrations. The reason is very simple, because like...
Please, order, please. Order, please. Order, please. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please let's follow the ground rules. Order, please. So we are setting you up again.
Thank you. I mean, it really does, because if you look at the huge potential, like a Greek, for job creation and expanding our IGR base, it clearly shows the seriousness of this government and, like I said, the past administrations. It has to be said very clearly that the issue of mining is in the exclusive list of the Constitution. But having said that, there is nothing stopping us as a government to being proactive. How do I mean? The first thing that my government would do is to set up a ministry, a full-fledged ministry for mineral resources. I think that would show straight away that we're very serious about this. Secondly, what we would do is do a lot of regulation. If you look at it, there's a case in Zamfara where people were trying to extract gold and the water was polluted and a lot of people died. You get a lot of that in the mining industry, and so they need to be regulated. They need to be brought from the they need to be brought into the mainstream. They need to be brought into the mainstream. So it would be from the black market, if you like, into the mainstream. So that would be highly regulated. What I would also do is, given my experience in the National Assembly, is to talk with fellow governors to see how we can amend some of the laws relating to mining. Because when things go wrong, you blame the state. When that accident happened in Zamfara, they were blaming the Zamfara state government. So we need to amend the laws to make sure that government can take full advantage of mining. What we would also do, because it's a very specialized area, we would also work in collaboration with international bodies who have the experience in the areas that we're interested in to come into the state to help us develop this sector. But for me, the potential for job creation is just incredible. It's like agriculture, and it's just beyond me why this government, and indeed the past governments, have done absolutely nothing to take proactive measures to make sure that we do something about mining. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to remind the audience here that this is a live broadcast, and there are many more people outside who are listening, and I think we want them to be part of this. So we need to be quiet and maintain a very clear broadcast from here. Thank you very much. So now over to you, Engineer Sheyi Makinde.
Thank you once again. I'm a systems engineer and a subject matter expert on fluid and gas metering. We've done it in the oil and gas industry because they also operate under the mining environment. Mining is capital intensive. Those miners, the ones with licenses that operate in here, they operate on our land, even though the licenses are given to them by the Federal Ministry of Mines. We will ask the people that are coming in, and we also encourage others, who wants to bring in direct investment into your state. We will encourage them. We will work with them, to procure licenses. But what we will insist on first is Oyo State should be a part of that company. There's no reason why Oyo State can't have, even if it's 10%. We will insist also that the local government, where such mines are located, also have a stake in it. Oyo State indigenes must work in such a venture, and they will also patronize Oyo State contractors. Those are ways and means by which the benefits of their activities can trickle down into our economy. We've done it successfully by negotiating the Nigerian Content Act within the oil and gas industry. So we will focus also on the methods that were used in such a negotiation, with the benefits going to host communities out there. Also, mining needs a lot of power. I know that if you look at their cost profile, almost 40% of their inputs has to do with cost of diesel in generating power. One of the cardinal programs that we think we will execute as a government is actually to generate power from Ikere Gorge Dam. The dam is done, is finished, but we don't have turbines. Because the generating companies have been privatized, Oyo State also has the right to float Oyo State Electricity Generating Company at Ikere. And we will get the license and generate power for the state. And if they are well distributed, we can ask the electricity distribution companies, to focus on extending power supply to those mines, so their cost will go down, and they will see Oyo State as a friendly environment to do business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we'll now go over to Senator Abiola Ajimobi of the All Progressives Congress. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think on your question of mining, there is a need sometimes for some of us to be informed from what we say. And I think maybe because Senator Ladoja, our Egbon, has done it before, he has information on the status, which is federal government is in charge of mining. So for anybody else to come here and say we are unserious, it's a bit uncivilized to say that. Yes. I think we should not pass insults to each other. I think
Hello, order please. Can we be quiet, please?
I think, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, sir, please let us abide the rule of not insulting each other. Okay? For people to come and say we are unserious, I think it's insulting. And I think we should avoid it. I said before, Senator Ladoja was there before. He knew the rules. Federal government owns all the mineral resources. However, since we came in, we have been trying and we have discussed with the federal government on the need to allow the state government to begin to participate. To that extent, we followed the federal government to Australia and we signed an agreement with an Austrian company that has agreed to be working with us in order to improve on our mineral resources, exploitation and exploration. 2, we try to close the leakages by getting more involved in taking stock of what is. This thing is fading. I don't know. What is being produced in those locations, particularly when it comes to Mabu. And Oyo State today has registered a company with the Australian partner and working with the federal government to start our own mine corporation. So when it comes to quarries, when it comes to marbles, when it comes to gemstones and others, and by the way, we just discovered that it's good in Oyo State. But what the test they are carrying out now is whether it's in commercial quantity. Lastly, quickly about Ikeregod Dam. Federal government controls Ikeregod Dam. However, we have struck an agreement with them where they have now decided to pass it on to us. We are still awaiting that letter. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think for mining and mineral resources, we are on the right track. And we are very serious. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to give the contestants enough time to make their points. We are interrupting them by our applause, and I think that is not fair enough to enable them to express their train of thoughts. And we want to also request that each of the contestants should avoid using strong language. Please, we will appreciate it if we can maintain this current level of civility. That will be very, very welcome.